समस्त विश्व के जय झूलेलाल. It is our honor to present to you again on behalf of VSSS for Youth. VSSS for Youth की यूथ काउंसलिंग एंड करियर गाइडेंस सीरीज में आप सबका स्वागत है. आज हमारे साथ ऑनरेबल जो गेस्ट हैं प्रोफेसर डॉक्टर राकेश कृपलानी. ये इस फील्ड में पिछले 21 सालों से है एंड ही इज अ साइकोलॉजिस्ट एंड साइबर साइकोलॉजिस्ट who's a leading personality and has been working at national, international level. In fact, it will not be wrong to say that he is one of the pioneers in Asia Pacific. उनके बारे में अगर बात करें, so the list is never ending. He is an advisor to 3G School of Psychology, UAE, Institute of Inspirational Economy, Behavioral Training Institute, Dublin, Ireland, and then Niame.ai. It's a US-based organization into AI and psychology. SARC, Society for Social Upliftment, International Association for Scientists and Research, Indo-Latin American Chamber of Commerce, Indo-Slovakia Chamber of Commerce, Rashtriya Raksha University, Central Indian Public School Group, and the list is never ending. It is such an honor to have you here on the show. Welcome, Dr. Rakesh Kripalani ji.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me for the show, Amrita. It's my pleasure and honor to be in this show.
Thank you. So we have this really interesting field with us, career in psychology. Now, this is a field that is bound to stay and flourish in the coming times. A career in psychology can pay you really well and give you a secure work as well. First question, the most obvious question. Can you tell us what are the career options in psychology?
So,
you've gone on mute.
Yeah. Sorry. So when you talk about psychology, so a lot of people, they think career in psychology is related only to the abnormal psychology or people, those who are having mental problem. This is what exactly people think. But it's not so. Career in psychology have a broader spectrum of 360-degree. Wherever human is there is a human behavior. And where there is a human behavior, psychology is there. So you can connect with anything, right from anything, any living being, even career in canine psychology is also there. And even you can be a pet psychologist also. So everywhere, AI, artificial intelligence, engineering psychology. So there are 80 different subfields in psychology. There's not 2 or 3 fields. People think it is counseling and clinical psychology. It's not so. There are 80 different fields. Even aviation psychologist. Today we are going to discuss, we are having a discussion about aviation psychologist also. So we have been discussing a lot of things and we have launched many courses across the globe, right from political psychology, aviation, engineering psychology, even conservative psychology, where about conservation of planet, how psychology can be helpful in that. So to all those who are listening to me, don't consider the psychology is only connected to Paglo ke doctor tak. You can be a normal person's doctor also and a solution provider to the planet, to this complete जो अपने motherland है आप उसको दे सकते हैं. And you can be a contributor to the planet.
We have the expert talking. How wonderfully and briefly you've just put across your point that career in psychology has such a wide domain. So far, we've been actually looking at psychology with just the traditional careers. Now, when you've just mentioned about career in political psychologist, and then you have in aeronautical fields. Can you describe a little more about these unconventional streams which people are not yet aware of?
Right. So years back, like when I started my career at that time, I used to think like how basically we were able to understand the medical prescription. Like if a patient who comes in front of me, so how I can understand that what prescription has been given to him, and because there is no course covered for the medical part in psychology. So my father, he was a doctor. He was the first MBBS doctor in the Sindhi community in our city. And I asked him, Ki, I want to know about medicines. So he said, Ki, it's impossible to understand medicines because you need to go for MBBS course. So I started my career with a very unconservative and a non-stereotype way. And I, just to know more about medicines, I joined a pharma company first. And
Okay.
I worked as a MR there in a psychiatry division to understand medicine. So for 6 months, I was in a pharma company. So I got a free of cost training there about molecules and SSRIs and about the neurochemicals, which my master's degree did not give at that time. So after 6 months, then I resigned and I told the company my purpose was basically to understand medicines rather than doing a job. So there I started, and later on, then I went into pathology. I did a project in Ayurvedic psychology, then homeopathy and psychology. I was a professor for dietetics department for 7 years, and in next around 10 years, I worked in 11 different departments. So the output and the crux which I came out of 10 years, I came to know there are so many subfields, there are so many areas where a psychologist can work. So now, so for example, from 2008, I started working on cyber. At that time, Orkut was there, Amrita. There was no WhatsApp,
Yes.
or WhatsApp came in 2010. So I
Hmm.
had in mind that what platform should be developed where a person should not require a psychologist. Basically, personally, he can go inside, and there he can basically, in the online way, he can go and do a counseling part. So I started developing a software at that time in 2008. And from since then, 2008 up to 2016-15, I was working on cyber psychology. Now, this cyber psychology is not at all connected to gaming. It is connected to cyber warfare. It is connected to cyber radicalization. It is connected to cyber health also. It is connected to robotics, engineering, AI, a lot of things, cognitive engineering. Many things are there. People think cyber psychology means it's only connected to gaming addiction. This is one part. Same like with political psychology also. So political psychology is a new field which we are starting a course now very soon with a very reputed national university. And with this course now, we are coming up with the first course in Asia on public policy and political psychology, where politicians, son, or anybody who wants aspire to be a political field, he can come with the tools and equipment with political psychology. So this is the first
Brilliant.
course in Asia.
Brilliant.
So
Brilliant.
in this way, then we are developing a course on basically engineering psychology, aviation psychology. There are many different courses. So I mean to say in a short, like any field wherever you feel application is there of human behavior is there, psychology can be associated. It can be health psychology also. So in coming days now, health psychology is a very upcoming field. Cyber health psychology is another subfield of cyber and health together. That is an upcoming field where online health and online cyber health can be taken care by a psychologist. I have one health psychologist who she's working with me. She did her master's in clinical and health psychology from UK, and she has joined at Nagpur here with me. So apart from clinical, counseling, industrial, sports, canine psychology, then adventure psychology, conservation psychology, there are certain different courses now which can be very much approved outside, like artificial intelligence and psychology, AI psychology. Like in coming days, automation and AI would be there. So there a psychologist is required to basically put up the emotions, to put up the cognitive science in engineering, machine learning into the machine and the robot. So I guess now the new generation which is going to come up as a psychologist, they have a wider scope as compared to what we used to have 20 years back, and we used to make people accept that we exist and accept us in the society. We are basically totally abandoned in the society that the psychologist मतलब कोई दाल आटे का भाव पड़ जाएगा इनको समझ में आ जाएगा कुछ नहीं होता ये. So
सही बात
HR psychology, which what you are doing, HR training and other, there is also field HR psychology. That is also one area. In organization psychology is one area. So I guess
है.
I have 80 more topics are there which can be done by student all over India.
And this is so wonderful. I believe the general youth doesn't know about it. Even in colleges, I do not think the colleges have an awareness that the area of psychology can be so vast. We are curious to know about your institution. You've just mentioned that you're running some uh, unconventional, some uh, requirement of the day, requirement of the time courses. We'd like to know about your institution and some courses that some of the great courses that you have, and how can somebody apply there?
So I have my institute called Central India Institute of Psychological Science, which has a franchisee center at Nagpur, Goa, and Chennai. And today we are launching at Singapore. So then next month we are coming with Los Angeles also, LA also. So there are around 60 courses are there. So right from geriatric psychology to environmental, all these courses which I am telling you, certificate courses are there. So CIPS is associated with Rashtriya Raksha University, and with RRU we have a department there of Department of Cyber Psychology. So we run a diploma course from Rashtriya Raksha University. So that's in cyber sector. We are coming up with many more universities in prospects like Adamas and many other universities. They are also coming up in 2022 June July with many courses. Another course which are coming up is on political psychology. The institution cannot be disclosed because officially they are yet to put up the paper ad. So after that, we'll be able to disclose the institution. But political psychology is coming up with two national level law institutes here in India, and that's going to be the first course. That course in US is around of 25 lakhs, and here we are coming with 90,000 only.
Wow.
So that's the difference what we are doing it. So now with CIIPS, which we have 3, 4 franchises, we have certificate courses and diploma. We are not into master's course because it's a private institution. So that people can apply for that course and they can go for 3 months, 6 months internships also. They
Hmm.
can go for continuous learning process that can be done. So we have basic
Wow.
workshop certificate courses in that.
And do we have any scholarship or quota system here with you?
In our institution,
Yes.
CIPS, so scholarships are there, but quota system is not there because that is again we work on merits basically rather than quota. So we basically we give scholarships even for the Rashtriya Raksha University also. We gave 6 students out of around 22 scholarship from CIPS. Those were the
Hmm.
potential students, and in here we have very economical course fees. And most important, what we see, Amrita, is basically that psychology. People have a myth that a lot of people they think that I talk very well, I chat very well, so I can become a psychologist. So here we are looking
Absolutely.
that aspiring
I
people should have
recall a
that.
conversation, sorry to interrupt, I
Uh,
recall a conversation with an acquaintance. And the acquaintance said, you know what, Amrita, I'm really good with handling conflicts. जो लोगों के जो झगड़े होते हैं मैं बड़े अच्छे से सुलझा पाती हूँ. I think I should get into this field. So this is a common layman thought that, initially itself you mentioned that if you are good at handling conflicts, or किसी बीमारी को ठीक करने के लिए ही साइकोलॉजिस्ट की जरूरत पड़ती है. This is a common myth, and you've so wonderfully busted this myth. Coming from
ac-
such a revered
Actually,
personality from you,
Amrita,
people will take it as it is, with no
Amrita,
ifs and
basically
buts.
Indian people are more interested in gossips and knowing other people's life. So they think this is a quality. This is not the quality because even Facebook is basically have more subscribers in India because हम वेले लोगों को आदत बहुत है दूसरों के घरों में झांकने की. We are
सही बात
interested
है.
कि किसने बिरयानी खाया और किसकी शादी हुई. So that's the
हम्म.
reason why we are more into more subscribers of Facebook and WhatsApp and Instagram. So this is not the
हम्म.
quality for psychologists. Basically, we cannot say that is a quality. कि मेरे को झगड़े सुलझाना अच्छा लगता है. In fact, a lot of our patients they have become psychologists. Those who need themselves counseling, they are now psychologists now. And you can understand what type of mental health awareness or has come up now that even they themselves need counseling. They have a problem with bipolar disorders or they have something like they should be treated, but they are there on
हम्म.
the table where they are treating other people. So it's very harmful. So we say
Yeah.
compassion, empathy, humanity, these qualities which a psychologist should have, that we
हम्म.
try to see when we give admissions.
हम्म.
We don't sell certificates and workshops to people like because he's paying money so he should go that. We want quality people, human resource. They should help people other, and they should have that feeling of helping others. Okay, like not the people like in the Facebook they are putting up ki I'm against animal slaughter and the evening they are eating the non-veg part. These are two different personas which they have. So morning they feel I'm a psychologist and evening they have domestic violence at home. So we are trying to see personality more in our course, that who has a more compassion part, empathy part for the society. So whenever I do a workshop or a seminar for admissions, so I always ask them ki, if you are here to contribute to the society, so I am searching for you. But if you think you are searching for a certificate, I am not for you. So that's a two different things.
Wonderful. Absolutely. Now, there's one more question. Um, Along with the knowledge that you've given us so far, students at times they get perplexed which college to choose. Now, many a times there is this preset notion that if you get into a metro college, things are better there. Now, there are financial constraints at times, emotional constraints, family constraints as well. For the youth who's watching us here, what do you think? What are the points, the parameters they should consider while choosing a college for them?
Good question.
And especially if
So,
we can talk in context to career in psychology.
right. So the first criteria what everybody sees is basically the metro place and a big college. So infrastructure doesn't matter here. It's all about the practical experience which any college wants to give you. And every city, every state in India is culturally dominant. So it's not that Delhi or any other city is doing good in counseling. Few cities are not doing. I've been in a B town like Nagpur. I have
Yes.
brought Nagpur into the world map. So if you consider Nagpur to be a B town, so still people are coming down from all over the world to meet me and discuss the prospects. So you can even work in a small town also. So that's not the thing. Only thing what practical exposures are there, that has to be shown. A lot of people, a lot of young crowd, they choose metro cities because they wanted to have a freedom. Number of times they wanted to have a nightlife, good life there, friend circle, unrestricted from the parents. I have a lot of counseling people. They say, "Ki sir, I just wanted to go to Pune or Bangalore because I think I wanted to live my life for around 4 years there, and I wanted to have a pub culture. I wanted to meet my friends. I don't have restrictions there." I said, "What
Hmm.
about your exposure to psychology?" They said that I am going to do later on. So I said the purpose is totally different. Going to Bangalore and Pune, the purpose is not your exposure; it's basically your freedom. So I think anybody who chooses in this way, then there is a problem. So practical exposure means if you are into your hometown and if you have few psychiatrists or a few institutes who can help you out from BA first year, and if you get training there for around 6 to 7 years. So I always say ki from first year itself you should get training, so that next 7 years, that is 4 5 years of your undergraduation and 2 years of a master, at least 7 years you get training, proper training, practical training. You get an exposure how the doctor treats, how the hospital is run. So that is very important. So is I don't think undergraduation anybody should opt for a another city or another country. They can do in the native place. For masters they should obviously go for a better college, and for any specialization then obviously the courses are not available in India, they can go for abroad. So unnecessary spending undergraduation money in undergraduation for lakhs and thousands outside city, and then at their masters then they have deficit of money, parents expect more. So that fails
Hmm.
the complete concept. A lot of parents they say कि I have spent it 1 CR in psychology sir, पैसे कैसे निकलेंगे? I said 1 CR कैसा हो गया? They said 60 lakhs I have spent it on BA psychology. मतलब BA psychology 60, बोला I have sent the child to Canada. Then I have spent it this one. I said this is all wastage. BA psychology can be done in India. Masters you could have spent it there, and then specialization would have spent the money. So I think those who are listening to me or after this live session, those who are going to see the recording session, you take care of this thing. If you have undergraduate good college in your city, go for that college and go for a good master's outside. Okay. And if you want to spend a lot of money and you have a resource for that thing, for international, keep money for the international exposure, not for the local exposure.
Makes sense. And with clarity, what clarity we have received from you, Dr. Rakesh Kriplani, we're actually, this is real clarity for all of us. Another point is there are the questions that we've received. There are people who are, there are students who are brilliant. Finance is a constraint. Now, scholarships are available. I mean, almost all colleges give scholarship. But then, how do they know which scholarship is available for them? It is very difficult that, you go around Googling which college is giving scholarship and then comparing, picking up the best one. In fact, government itself is making a lot of efforts and they are giving good scholarships as well. So do how can the youth understand how where to get the scholarship from, which is correct resource, which is the correct information? How do they go about it?
Yeah, this is a good question, and but I see a lot of times like scholarship is being more acquired or more being successfully benefited by people who actually don't require scholarship, and they are well financially stable at home, and they get, however, with their or jugaad technology, however, their connections and other thing, they get into the political aspects and they get that scholarships. And the actual needed person, basically, because lack of exposure and mentoring, he is still sitting at home. So I was basically surprised when I was doing a workshop 2 weeks back, and I was just giving session for a ninth and tenth student, and one of the smallest city here, town here at Latur near Nasik. So there I met a girl online, and she was from class ninth, and whatever she was talking, whatever she was expressing, was beyond MPhil and PhD. Even a psychologist who has done the PhD cannot speak in that way. So she's the youngest member in my team now. She's in my team now. I asked her to join my team. She's into my group. She works with us now. So, like, yeah, we have to do hunt for that thing. First of all, people should hunt you rather than you hunting for the scholarship. If you have merits, definitely someone will hunt you. Second thing is part basically like here in India, somewhere keeping aside the merits, we initially think about how free we can get that particular thing. In fact, somewhere if we don't invest, obviously we are not able to take output of that thing. If you have resource, if you have financial resources, don't wait for the scholarship, go for that. Third part, how to get the scholarship. Now internet is the biggest source. Don't rely now basically somewhere on offline counselor who has a limited
Hmm.
knowledge about that thing, because mental health, no one has explored about scholarships. More of engineering and medical, everything everyone knows. For mental health, people have not taken so seriously. So even if you go to a counselor or anybody, no one is going to give you a proper knowledge. In fact, me also, if you ask me, like which are the scholarship colleges, so I need to do a research, and then I, because it's not a daily question here. But if you ask me like what are the scholarship options for engineering, obviously it's a talk of the town, and we know who are giving the scholarships. So in best way is to explore basically internet itself and be free to communicate with them directly, calling to them on their required number, meeting them, rather than believing or relying on the local admission counselors. So this is the best way to do in that way, because you can be misguided by admission counselor, because if he thinks that he doesn't know about psychology, he can discourage you. He will say, "Okay, don't go for psychology," because he knows more about medical engineering. He will talk about engineering to you so that he gets a proper output of that thing.
Now, this is wisdom talking. For every youth, for every human that is watching this episode, please rewind and listen to Dr. Rakesh Triplani's each word with clarity. This is the wisdom. A person who has an experience of 21 years, Asia Pacific, he's around Asia Pacific, he's a known personality. The points that he has just made are so true and so practical, be it in direct connect with the colleges, with the institution. Don't fall into the trap of those middle agencies. They may help you, they may not help you. So make sure that you take charge of your career. Wonderful
That's true.
and makes sense. One of the last questions. Um, do we have colleges that provide Sindhi quota to us, to the Sindhi youth that is watching us right now? Are there any Sindhi quotas available in colleges, or they are the colleges that are owned by Sindhi people that provide Sindhi quota?
If you're talking about psychology, so very
Yes, we can say psychology and other aspects as well can be included.
other aspects are there. Other aspects, there are a lot of quotas in Mumbai. Many colleges are owned by Sindhi community, so they give Sindhi quota. There are admission processes, reservations for Sindhi people also. Management quota is there. But comes to psychology, so psychology departments are very rare with such Sindhi colleges or Sindhi management institutes. They are yet not interested into psychology department. For them, it is far off thing for them. So unfortunately, we don't have many colleges which are running psychology
Hmm.
courses by management of Sindhi people. So I don't think any big college is there which says okay, they have a, like in Mumbai also KC College and Sadomal College. Many colleges are there. So they don't basically provide psychology course there. So I don't think Sindhi quota is there. But yeah, after your interactions, so obviously with my institute, Central India Institute of Psychological Science, surely with your this two questions which you have put me, so I'll be putting up a Sindhi quota for that for this thing under VSS, VSSS.
That will be an
Definitely,
encouragement. That will
I'll
truly be an
definitely put for that.
encouragement. Thank you so much. Last and concluding question. Again, we'd like to hear wisdom lines from you. Things that the youth of today should consider while choosing their career, be it any field.
Right. So the most important thing is basically the choice of career. What the way we choose the career? Just hold on. The way we choose a career, it has a wrong pattern. What we do in India is basically a parent takes a child to the station, and whichever train is full, they basically ask him to sit in that train rather than basically having his own train. He sits in a train which is completely houseful, and later on he steps down another station, somebody steps on another station, and few of them, they basically, when they land in the final station, they say this is not my station. So that's why we have BSc LLB, and we have engineering and MBA finance. So they don't know what to do for 16 years, and after 17 years they become entrepreneur and they wanted to do something. So this connection is very wrong. Second part is that we all should know the futuristic careers. Like in now 2022, somebody who comes down to me for counseling in class 10, he will be passing his class 12th on 24, undergraduation in 26, okay, 28, and PG on 30 after 2 years PG, and 31 he will complete his internship. So now in 32 he will be available in market for self-employment and job. So we need to see the career which is going to be applicable in 2032, not in 2022. Because things which are up now may be going down in 2032, which are down now may be up in 2032. Now in 2032, if you opt for any course, that should sustain for 20 years, up to 2052. So the vision should be 32 and 52 for a class 10th, not 22. Because in next
True.
10 years, you have pandemics, we have disasters, we have economic recessions, you have wars, you have so many upcoming things. And then automation, AI, and many other things which are going to wipe off many professions. So if you
Yes.
have a futuristic visions, then only you will be successful in career. What happened? We go for the career which is going high at this moment, but the moment you pass out from final year, it is completely wash out. So this is
Absolutely.
my last
Absolutely.
suggestion to everybody. Go for futuristic career. Any counselor who talks about futuristic career, he is the right counselor. Any person who says you can go for medical, engineering, and architecture, that means he doesn't know. He says all three can you can choose. So that's not the right counseling. So you should go for aptitude testing, interest, personality, your resources, your demand and supply, and your multiple intelligence. There are 7 different factors which should match to 2032.
Yes. Purely makes sense. And I think that should be the base for choosing your career. Um, the question list can be endless, but since we have limited time in hand with us, we will, I would urge anybody who has queries related to career guidance, related to psychology, you can connect directly with Dr. Rakesh Kriplani. You can follow him. You can connect with him on Facebook, and his ID is Rakesh Satyavan Kriplani. His website is rakeshkriplani.com, and you can also reach him through cyberpsychologyindia.com. The correct person, the correct resource person, the correct mind to take you to the correct path. Dr. Rakesh Kripalani, it was absolutely honor to have you on the show We Triple S for Youth. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Jai
Thank you, Amrita.
Jhulelal.
Thank you for the invite. Jai Jhulelal. Thank you.